This is Mike K0NGA, and this video is just a quick note about a new DMR radio that's on the market. It is a commercial radio, but it does have some features that are could be very attractive to a ham radio user. This won't be a full review. I just wanted to pick one particular feature that this radio has that'll make a certain aspect of amateur radio use with the DMR radio a little less painful. So to give you some background on this radio, the radio is made by a company called Tera. It is a Chinese company. This is their website, and all they tell you on the website is basically some basic information about the radio and basic specs. This radio, though, in the States is being marketed and sold by PowerWorks. So let's go over to the PowerWorks website. So this is the PowerWorks website. This is the page with the 7400. There's also a 7200, which is VHF. The 7400 is UHF, and that's what I'll be using in the example today. Here you can see the price. They do claim IP67 weatherproofing and MIL STD 810 EFG rated. All these kind of good things. They have a few accessories down here. It uses a older Motorola type connector for the accessories. You can kind of see it there on the cable and on the microphone, so you can get other accessories with it if you want. Tera and PowerWorks do supply their own accessories as well, so they've got a lot of choices there. Now, the interesting thing about this radio, from our perspective, you'll notice here it says 800 talk groups, but don't let that fool you. This radio manages contacts, that is radio IDs, in a completely different way than the talk group database. And that's really the feature that I wanted to go over in this radio. So let's pop over to the software and see what that looks like. So what I have here is the RM ham sample code plug that I created for this radio. And everything about this code plug, it looks like some of the more entry-level kind of code plug software you might see for Chinese radios. It's not terrible to work with. It's pretty standard fare as far as that's concerned. It does have a nice channel list where you can kind of glance at the channel list. Not all the features are editable from this window, but it is still nice to see them in a nice list. Common settings, here's where you put in your radio alias, key settings, Vox, all these other kind of things are there. The Dmr Settings, this is where you put in your radio ID. They call it the local address. It's really the radio ID. Receive group list, standard stuff. Contacts and talk groups is where this really starts. Now you'll notice this particular list has all the talk groups that you would see in an RM ham sample code plug, with one addition of one private call, which is the RM ham code plug. That's specific. We put that in to have a radio ID in there, and we can tell if somebody didn't change the code plug radio ID. If when they transmit they see that, we see that on the list. Oh, you need to go back, change your radio ID, get one from DMR Mark. That's kind of how we tell. You'll notice there are no other radio IDs in this list, and that is because the software in the radio manages that list separately. So where that's done is here on this contact sheet. Now the contact sheet, you'll see it has an import and an export feature. This is fantastic. You'll also notice that it is blank. It is blank because what happens is that you just use the software to load a spreadsheet, and then you just write it to the radio. That's it. It doesn't get stored in the code plug. It just gets stored in the radio. It doesn't bulk up the code plug. It doesn't make it to where when you're creating your channels that you have to scroll through a whole long list of IDs in order to create a channel. It just loads it into this window and then lets you write it into the radio. Now, here is the thing that really caught my attention. You do not have to create the spreadsheet. PowerWorks creates it for you. So if we go back to the PowerWorks website, if we go down to here, and there is a software download section here under the Help Center. You click on that. You scroll down a little bit to the Tera DMR contact CSV file, and you just download it. Now, they update this list every day. This is the thing, again, that really caught my attention. So once you've downloaded their CSV file, and you can open it up and look at it, we're not going to do it here, but what you do is you click on this import contact list. I'm going to go to my downloads, and here is my contact list for 619, and I'm going to open it. And it will load eventually. It is a huge list. This list is essentially an export dump of the DMR Mark radio ID list for that day. It is the entire list. This radio, from what I've been told, will hold 50,000 contacts. It's a little short of the Connect System, 64,000 contacts, but right now the contact list is only about 32,000, so, you know, give or take, not that big of a deal. But given this usability and this ease of use, it is fantastic. So you notice now we're seeing the list number, call, and call ID that's in the list. We can scroll down to the end and see that we're now at 40,164. It's a lot of contacts. And all you do at this point, you hook up your radio, you turn it on, you hit the write button, and it writes that list into the radio in a separate part of the memory or whatever in the radio. It is handled separately than the rest of the code plug. You do not have to, even if you save this code plug, this list doesn't get saved in the code plug. It's just a load into the radio function. So what this essentially means is that you do not have to manage your contact list. You do not have to manage your own spreadsheets with your contacts anymore. You can just pull down the CSV from PowerWorks and load it into your radio and go on a daily basis if you want, you know, weekly, daily, whatever you want. And you don't have to maintain that list because as of today, the entire list will fit into the radio. This is fantastic. So that's a quick view of the contact list management features of the new Tera TR series DMR radios. Hope you enjoyed the video and have a good rest of your day.